So now in this lecture I am going to discuss about the realization of practical filters based on Pele-Wiener criterion. So first we will see the ideal filters compared to ideal filters. In what way the practical filters will be different. Filters means systems will be different, and we consider these topics. The Pele-Wiener criterion. We consider one example of Butterworth filter, and we talk about realization of practical filters compared to ideal filters. And in the real filters have certain bandwidth and rise time characteristics, and on the similar basis we can also define the system bandwidth. So these are basically these are all parameters related to uh, real filters, means practical filters. Let us consider an LTI system, a filter which is governed by an impulse response small h of t and frequency response capital H of omega. What this Pele-Wiener criteria says is an ideal filter is not physically realizable. If it is to be physically realizable, the impulse response must be causal, that is h of t equal to 0 for t less than 0. So in my previous lecture, I have shown the sinc function. So something like that I have shown some sinc function here. Sinc function as the impulse response of an ideal filter I have shown. I stated that if I can cut this tail on the negative axis, negative time axis, this is minus infinite, up to minus infinite you have this tail. So ignore all this tail, whatever is there here. Then consider only the positive side. Then h of t is a causal function and the filter is a causal filter. That is what I told. So that is what exactly here h of t equal to 0 for t less than equal to 0. In frequency domain, this condition is equivalent to Pele-Wiener criterion. What it states is the necessary and sufficient condition. The necessary and sufficient condition for the amplitude response, that is h of omega. So h of omega to be realizable is the integration. What is this integration? This is the integral. This integral should be less than infinite. This must be finite value. So what is the integrand here? This is the integrand and this is the total thing is the integral. What is integrand consists of is log of magnitude response. Natural log of magnitude response divided by 1 plus omega square. Okay, so this is what we have. So this integrand is nothing but natural log of h of omega magnitude and divided by 1 plus omega square. If h of omega equal to 0 absolutely, that means if the absolute value of this one equal to 0 over a finite band, then this becomes infinite. Numerator becomes infinite. So naturally total integral becomes infinite. This statement is not satisfied. It is violated. If h of omega equal to 0 at a single frequency or set of frequencies. Okay, so I will show in terms of diagram. So let us consider some frequency response like this. Let us say something like this. So here in this frequency response, let us say this is nothing but some h omega of an arbitrary filter. I have here over certain band zeros, and here zeros, here zeros. So there are three bands, 1, 2, 3. I will call them as notches. At three regions, at three ranges, the frequency response, the magnitude of the frequency response is becoming 0. That means first one, this is equal to first one. So condition is violated because in this case the numerator becomes infinite. Then take another frequency response. Here I am drawing h of omega of another arbitrary filter where something like this, something like this, something like this. So here what is happening is at single frequency, a discrete frequency, and a single frequency here, and another single frequency here, another single frequency. Okay. So at this single frequency is only the magnitude response equal to 0. At all other places it is non-zero. It is greater than 0. So in that case, that is the second case, the integral may be finite. So here the total integral, this total integral will be finite. That means condition is satisfied even though the integrand is infinite. If this becomes infinite at some places, because here zeros you are assuming, correct? At discrete points you are keeping zeros. So when you substitute log of 0, it is minus infinite. Okay. So this omega is finite only, not because omega is infinite. Okay, omega is finite only in the denominator, but log of 0 is minus infinite. Because of that one, it becomes infinite, minus infinite, and when you take magnitude of this one, it becomes plus infinite. So the condition is violated. But in spite of the violation of the integrand, the total integral can still be finite because the contribution of this is very small, and you can mathematically show also that is possible. Okay, so the integral may still be finite even though the integrand is infinite. So this is called the Rayleigh-Wiener criterion, and there are two conditions discussed here. So any filter, any system can be realized if it has zeros at singular set of frequencies but not in a finite band, then the filter can be realized. Okay, the filter can be realized. This is the necessary and sufficient condition for realizing the filter. Now let us continue here. This is what we have discussed. These 2 points shown in red are already discussed. So thus for a physically realizable system, the h omega may be 0. So here is missing. So maybe 0, maybe 0 at some discrete frequencies, but cannot be 0 over any finite band. Okay. So naturally, when we take ideal filters over the ideal low pass filter, if I take for example, how was it? It was a box function. So this was pass band, and other side also you have the same thing, pass band, and this side it is stop band. This is a low pass filter. So total band is stop band here up to infinite. This is up to infinite, and similarly up to minus infinite. This is stop band. So what it means is this is finite band. Actually it is infinite band, in fact very long band, and this is also very long band, and the response is 0 or wide band here 0. So naturally these ideal filters cannot be realized. They cannot be realized. Okay. So then what to do? There is a practical approach to realize a filter, because we want filters. Without filters and systems we cannot process the signals. So we know that ideal low pass filter response is like this, and its impulse response is like this, whose spread or support of the impulse response is infinite here. This is basically infinite. It goes to infinite, minus infinite to plus infinite. So what we have to do is, let us multiply this impulse response mathematically by a unit step function. What it means? I have a unit step function like this. So what it means? I am cutting down the tail portion on the negative side, negative axis. Okay. So, but here, if I cut it, how many cycles I have here? I have one cycle. This is probably, if I take this positive and this negative as one cycle, this is another cycle, and probably 3 or 4 cycles I need. After that probably I may not need. But if I cut at second or first cycle itself, you are truncating the impulse response incorrectly, so it may not give a good filter. And what is the basis for that? TD, delay. If you cut at if you cut more cycles here only one hour, this is one cycle, this is two cycle. Other than the main low, I have one cycle and two cycle. Only two cycles I kept here. That happens for lower values of FD. If the delay, if the system delay is low TD, group delay of the filter or system is low, then uh, you have to cut many cycles other than first and second cycle. Okay. So when I cut so many cycles, what happens is, so the distortion will happen, because because both sides sync function I want infinite. Ideally I need infinite length. Then what happens? It deviates. The ideal filter characteristics will be totally compromised, and the filter you design, practical filter, may not be useful at all. So to make that happen, to make a real filter work properly, what I have to do? I must have more cycles here. Let us say something like this, something like this, something like this. Okay. So I'm not able to plot here totally. So this is what, yeah, I can plot this. So this is the TD. So TD should be more. If TD is more, if TD increases, automatically more cycles are available on the positive side, because this is 0, this is positive side, this is negative side of the axis. So more cycles are available here, and we need practically observed that 3 to 4 cycles must be sufficient to design a good practical filter, which is almost close to the ideal filter. So this one. So if delay TD is more means what? If you transmit the input signal, it reaches the output signal very late. So many places the delay may be acceptable or may not be acceptable. Let us take a system here. I am giving X input to the system. Let us say some waveform like this, and this waveform, it reaches very late here. So this is the delay. It is undergoing group delay at the receiver through the channel. Okay. So this is the delay. If this delay is more, it causes certain problems. Okay. And so let us summarize. First thing, we have to truncate the impulse response, only taking the positive side, positive time axis, and the more the time delay, the higher the delay values, better approximation, they are close to ideal filters. But this makes the transition regions gradual. So ideal filter, because you are delaying, and the practical filter always have a transition region gradual, because when the transition region will be instantaneous, if it will be instantaneous only if the frequency response is sharp like this. Okay. If the frequency response at the edges of the pass band and stop band is gradual, what it means is you have cut more cycles here. Okay. That means lesser cycles are here. What it means is lesser cycles are available for you in the causal filter. So majority number of cycles on the left of the impulse response are lost. So because of that one, it is not able to, because this is nothing but impulse response whose Fourier transform is box function. Okay. So by cutting down this side, what happens is you are cutting down the higher frequencies, and automatically the sorry, you are this higher side you are cutting down, so you are basically truncating the uh, impulse response. So that means original impulse response whose width is infinite, you are multiplying with a unit step function. So what happens for the Fourier transforms in frequency domain? When I multiply two functions in the time domain, in Fourier domain, the Fourier spectra are convolved. So for example, HF omega and U of omega, that is the spectrum of impulse response function, sorry, step response function. So these two are convolved because you are multiplying in uh, time domain, their frequency spectra will convolve. Let me put this clearly. So this is the convolution operation between the two spectra. And what about this? This is U. U omega. So this is what we have. This is basically 1 by omega. That is a nonlinear function. And so naturally the transition region, now because of this convolution, the transition region will become gradual. Okay. And what are the disadvantages of this in this case? Because we have higher delay in the output, first one, because output, of course, if it is 1 micro, originally if it is 1 microsecond, if it becomes 10 microseconds, may not be a big problem in some cases, but even few microseconds or milliseconds will be a problem in many real-time communications. Okay. And it also causes spectral spread and leakage functions, because you are sharply cutting down this. It is a spectral spread. See, basically this is nothing but a spectral spread. And leakage, okay, that we will be studying a bit later. So these are the spectral properties are distorted. So because of that one, if you want to get a good filter close to ideal filter, I want higher delay. I want higher TD value. I want higher TD value. This should be large TD value. But the more it is large, then I have different problems. Okay, higher the delay and spectral spread will be there and leakage will be there. So we have to find a way. I mean, some trade-off we have to decide to while designing the system. So what are the disadvantages? Tapering the truncation. Sorry, you are truncating this side instead of directly truncating. Instead of directly truncating this like this. So this is what you are multiplying with this unit step function means you are considering this part, you are ignoring this part. So you are suddenly cutting down. Instead of that, you can taper the truncation. Taper the truncation means instead of making this as for example, I will show. I think it is better to put in a different way here. In this, let us say we are going to let us say we are going to cut. Let us say the 0 axis is here, vertical axis is here. So when you truncate here, what happens here? So this is the portion taken here. And this is what is cut. So edges, if I take, there is a sharp, see here, there is a sharp cut down, you are sharply cutting here. So instead of that, if you taper, what happens is, you are multiplying this by another window, which is something like this, something like this. So what happens here is, this portion, it will come to 0 at the edges always. This becomes a 0 and this will reduce in amplitude and this will increase in amplitude because you are giving gain here for this. Okay, so this is the gain you are giving for this. So this will raise here again, this also it will raise here and this will raise and like this. Okay, so basically you are creating a taper kind of thing like this. You are creating a taper. So this edge is not sharp. Always at the end you will see 0. At this point it is 0. It touches the 0 value horizontal axis. Okay, so because of that one, the truncation is not sharp. The truncation is slow, basically, you should say. And if you keep 3 or 4 times pi by omega, what is pi by W? Sorry, W. W is the maximum frequency. That is nothing but cutoff frequency of the ideal filter. So if I take impulse response, in impulse response, pi by W is one cycle here. You can say one cycle or half cycle. Okay, so this is one cycle, and here, for example, if I take here, it is 1W. This is 2W. This is 3W. This is 4W. Means 4 pi by W. So there are 4 segments here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And similarly, left side also we have the same symmetric. So here, if I consider up to this, that means 3 or 4 times pi omega means 3 or 4 cycles if I keep, and if I truncate, then automatically I can see basically when I am truncating left side, what it means is I am truncating right side also. So I cannot build an asymmetric impulse response function, correct? So this side truncation is happening, equally this side truncation is happening. So basically, because practical realizable filters cannot have an infinite length, so right side also you have to cut. So both sides if you cut, it becomes a finite impulse response basically. So this is the impulse response. Earlier it was infinite impulse response. Infinite impulse response, that is original sinc function. Infinite impulse response has been converted to finite impulse response by truncation operation. Okay, so in this case, this is the final step in the design of the a practical filter or practical system. Now let us consider some examples. Consider Butterworth filter. The Butterworth polynomial you can use here to get the frequency response of the filter. So this is what is there, where in this case B is the bandwidth of the filter. So B is the bandwidth of the filter means this is nothing but 3 dB bandwidth of the filter. And in my previous lectures I already discussed about 3 dB minus 3 dB point and 3 dB bandwidth I discussed in the first module itself. And of course, when you take it granted at this point of time. So this is the bandwidth of the filter where most of the energy is, majority of the energy is concentrated. That is the meaning of this one. And n is the order of the filter. If this n becomes infinite, this is n. If I can take infinite order, then I can realize the ideal filter. It is equal to the ideal filter with zero transition band, zero transition width. Okay, it is a box function as in case of ideal low pass filter here. Okay, now if I make n equal to 16, this is what you have for n equal to 16. Then n equal to 4 we have this. So as the and n equal to 2 is this curve and n equal to 1 is this curve. As the order of the filter is reduced, the filter transition region is becoming more. What it means is some of the energy, some are majority, sometimes if you take n equal to 1, lot of energy is flowing from this pass band to stop band. So what it means is these frequencies which are in the stop band, for example, you take some frequency at this point. This is the frequency and it has a gain. It is basically a stop band. But even though it is stop band, it is giving significant gain to the frequencies in the stop band. And on the other side, instead of unity gain, the gain is very low now. It is 0.8, 0.85 something like that. The gain is almost 0.85 or 88 like that, less than 1 in the pass band. So some of the frequencies are highly attenuated in the pass band and some of the unnecessary undesirable frequencies are amplified in the stop band. That happens if the transition band is has more width. That is, in case of Butterworth filter, if the order is 1 or 2 or 3, naturally the transition region will be very high. So which is not desirable, and such filters may have very limited applications, and most of the times second order, third order or fourth, sixth orders also must be useful. But however, to reduce the cost of the filter, A simple RC filter, if I take previously whatever I have discussed, that has an order of 1. So now we discuss more about the realization of practical filters. To start with, we compare the Butterworth filter which we designed just now with an ideal filter. We'll compare. See here, this is the gray shaded region is the ideal filter magnitude response, and the slant curve, the gradually changing curve, a smooth curve, is nothing but the magnitude response of the Butterworth filter of order 4. And the phase response of the ideal filter is linear, as shown in the dashed form, and the solid the solid curve which is linear up to this cutoff frequency, and afterwards it is becoming nonlinear. So this is the phase characteristics of Butterworth filter of order n equal to 4. So this happens because the magnitude response and phase response of any filter or any system, they are not independent. Okay, so here they are not independent basically. If you try to make the magnitude response perfect, that means if you try to push this curve inside towards the passband, what happens? The transition regions will come down. The filter tries to become more closer to the ideal filter. So you are pushing this. How you push this? By increasing the n value. Instead of n equal to 4, go for 6, 8, 10, 11 like that. Okay, I mean any number you can go. So this is as the order of the Butterworth filter increases, it goes up, then automatically this response, it becomes very close to the ideal filter. But what is the price? The price is at omega naught, that is at cutoff frequency, the phase response deviates from the linearity. So this is where it is going to change, because see, in ideal case this is okay, but here what is the in real filter, it is important, this side is also important, because you have the transition region here. So you have the transition region here. This is also important for us because there is a gain in the stop band also. So in the stop band where the gain is significant, those frequencies, they undergo nonlinear phase shift. So generally producing the phase distortion. So it contributes to the distorted signals in the output. So what is the summary here? We can summarize magnitude response and phase response are not independent, and if you try to perfect the magnitude response, phase response will suffer, and if you try to perfect the phase response, the magnitude response will suffer. So you are gaining somewhere and you are losing elsewhere. Okay, gaining at both places and losing at both places, it won't happen. So if you want to get something, and you have to sacrifice something else. Okay, so you have to trade off between these two properties, and whatever filter is required based on your signal characteristics, you have to decide signal characteristics means input signal characteristics. You have to decide what kind of system you want to design. Okay, what kind of transition you need. That is what you have to consider while you design the practical. and signal bandwidth. Signal bandwidth is nothing but it is the extent of the significant spectral content. That means the range of frequencies over which significant energy is contained. So this is spectral content of the signal. We consider only the positive side. So what is the range of frequencies where most of the significant energy is present? That is what. If it is a low pass filter, the significant power is contained closer to the origin. That means at lower frequencies. If it is a band pass filter, its significant spectral content is centered around some value. Okay. So something like this you have, it is a band pass filter with center frequency Fc, and significant power is contained around Fc. So this is what is the band pass signal. It is not a filter, it is a signal. So the signal itself is band pass, means it has no lower frequencies, it has no higher frequencies above this Fc, and very small set of small band of frequencies are contained in this band pass in this signal. So this kind of signals are called band pass signals. So we can say low pass filters if it is a system. Same thing, if the signal has say similar properties, then you can say low pass signals. Similarly, band pass filter if it is a system, and I can call band pass signal if it is a system, if it is a signal. Okay, so like that, this based on spectral content and which range has the significant energy, based on these ranges, you can define the signals, and I mean you can classify the signals based on the spectral content, and you can classify the signals and systems both. And so we define the bandwidth of a signal, especially 3 dB bandwidth. We can define any dB, n dB bandwidth, any dB, n can be 3 dB, 6 dB, 12 dB, 10 dB, any dB we can use. So let us define the 3 dB bandwidth of a filter. I mean same thing, 3 dB bandwidth of a signal or system, both you can define, but let us take the signal first. So this is what is the input signal spectrum. This is 0 dB, and here this is the magnitude spectrum of the given signal, and this is 0 dB. 0 dB means basically what is the dB conversion? 10 log 10 1. If I take, I will get, in fact, 1 square you take, I will discuss later. 1 square if I take is 1, so this is basically 10 dB. So if you take the energy of the signal, so 1 square you take, then I have 10 dB. So when I take, when it will become energy, when I take square of this magnitude response, it is called energy basically. So I am plotting the energies here. So energy is 0 dB energy, means 10 dB. If it is voltage, that means if there is no square here, it is the voltage, then what it means, this will be, that means whenever you have 1 here, 1 is nothing but 0 dB. It comes as 0 dB basically, because here log 1 equal to, see, 10 multiplied by log 1 equal to 0. So 0 dB. So 0 dB energy I can call energy or power. Okay. Then this is 0 dB. then half the power. If I take half the power, so 1 by 2, this is half the power, 1 by 2. If this ratio is 1 by 2, then what you will get? I will separately write this again. If this ratio is 1 by 2 means 10 log 10 0.5. After squaring, I have 0.5, 1 by 2. Okay, so equal to, this is 1 by 2 means 2 to the power of minus 1, correct? So 10 log 10 1 by 2, 2 to the power of minus 1. So this is equal to minus 10 log of 10 log of 2, that is nothing but 0.3010. Then you will get minus 3 dB approximately. Okay, so whenever, if I consider this plot as the energy or power, 0 dB means maximum, and half power means 3 dB below, that is, this is minus 3 dB. This point, this horizontal line is, this point is minus 3 dB down. That's why it is 3 dB down means minus 3 dB, 0 minus 3 dB. So this is 3 dB. This is 3 dB. So this point, if I take in terms of voltage, see, if I take for example half means this, if this is half power or half energy. If I take square root of this one, 1 by square root of 2, it is nothing but 0.707. So this is the amplitude value. So if I consider only the magnitude spectrum, not the energy spectrum, then this is 0.707, 70% of the peak magnitude response. Okay, so here maximum is 1 and 70% of that one is this. So in terms of powers, when I say minus 3 dB, it is equal to 0.7 times the maximum voltage or maximum maximum gain of the magnitude response. Okay, so that is what. So the 3 dB, power 3 dB or voltage or current 0.7, both are same. So generally when we talk about the power, so power or energy, so we can say that the 3 dB bandwidth. So if, what it means is, so if I consider omega 3 dB as the cutoff frequency of this, because somewhere you have to define cutoff frequency. You cannot, otherwise you cannot work. So this somewhere you have to decide. And this is 3 dB cutoff frequency. If somebody asks us 10 dB cutoff frequency, I should put 10 dB here. So in that case, probably this is 3, 3, 3, 3. Somewhere here it will be, let me change the color of the ink. So this is, this point I can consider, and this can be minus 10 dB. That is 10 dB down the peak value. Where is the peak value? Peak value is here, 0 dB. So compared to this 0 dB, 10 dB down here. So this is the bandwidth. This bandwidth is nothing but omega 10 dB. That is 10 dB bandwidth. So what is the bandwidth? So 3 dB bandwidth means this is the 3 dB bandwidth. So there is another parameter, that is rise time of the signal. If I take a pulse, rectangular pulse like this is the ideal pulse. If you want to generate the pulse, you cannot generate an ideal pulse like this. It always starts with 0 and slowly it increases and it reaches the steady state value. Afterwards it slowly comes down. So this is the real pulse, and this is ideal pulse, this is real pulse. So real pulses always have finite rise times, that is 10% of the maximum value, and is the time taken for the signal to raise from its 10% to 90% of the value. Okay, so this is what is 10% time instant, this is 90% time instant. So this is nothing but raise time. This much time is needed for the signal to raise from its 10% value to the 90% of the maximum value. So this is rise time. And if you say, let us take some signal which is raising very fast like this. So the rise time is very small here. This is number one. Rise time is very small. Then take another signal which is slowly varying. Somewhere here it is reaching, again it is coming. So what is the rise time for this? This is the rise time for this. This is the rise time for this. 2. So in first case the rise time is very small. That means the signal is able to raise very fast. It is something like giving the instantaneous acceleration. Your vehicle, some of the vehicles you have very good acceleration, you can raise immediately, the speed of the vehicle can be raised very fast. But for some vehicles or old versions of vehicles, it will take some time to come from first gear to second gear or third gear like that. Okay, so this is the rise time. And when a signal has shorter rise time, I can say that it has very good magnitude response, in the sense that, I mean, bandwidth is more. Basically the system bandwidth is more, and bandwidth of a system is inversely proportional to 1 by rise time. If rise time is shorter, I can say bandwidth is more. Bandwidth is more means, see, for example, you take here two things. Say one, for example, 3 dB bandwidth. Let us say this is the 3 dB bandwidth. 3 dB point is here. For first case, that is where the rise time is very fast. In this case, in the second case, the rise time is very slow, and that 3 dB point is somewhere here. So what is this? This is the 3 dB. 3 dB for second case. I am putting here in circle 2, and this is the 3 dB point, 3 dB cutoff frequency for first case. So here 3 dB cutoff frequency is high. That means bandwidth, 3 dB bandwidth is more if the rise time is less. Okay. In the second case where the rise time is more, the 3 dB bandwidth is shorter here. Okay. So this is 3 dB bandwidth means this is B. I am representing here as B, and this is nothing but 3 dB bandwidth. 3 dB bandwidth is inversely proportional to the rise time. So that automatically you can understand that if something can rise fast, it must contain higher frequencies. If the signal does not contain higher frequencies, it contains only lower frequencies. So lower frequencies means the rise time of the lower frequencies is long. So the signal cannot rise fast. That means the bandwidth of the signal is not high. So they are all interrelated. You can interpret it in different ways. Now let us go to the system bandwidth. Same thing. Here I have an ideal box function for an ideal low pass filter, and a practical low pass filter has a certain TDB frequency and certain transition region. Where is the transition region? This is the transition region. This is the pass band. This is the stop band. It is slowly transiting from pass band to stop band. In case of ideal filter, up to this pass band, suddenly it is dropping, and the stop band and start band, they are side by side. Here in this case, you cannot really define what is pass band and what is stop band. Okay, so you conveniently define 3 dB bandwidth here. So whatever below 3 dB, you can say it is pass band. Above 3 dB, you can say it is stop band. But that is not the right way of telling. You should specify the pass band here. You should specify the stop band here, maybe minus 40 dB here, and here almost 1 dB or 0 dB or minus 40 dB. So this is nothing but stop transition band. Afterwards, your real stop band starts. Okay, so that is what in case of filters or systems. So let me write this. So here I can say that this is the actual pass band, true pass band. This is a true stop band, and probably you can take this point. This attenuation can be minus 40 dB, something like that. 40 dB down the maximum value. That means 10,000 times. In terms of power 10,000 times of the signal power is magnified in the pass band, and 10,000 times it will be attenuated in the stop band. That is what I mean. Gain, in fact, is not magnified. So is not magnified basically. So what it is, we cannot call this as magnification, because the signal is passed as it is without any attenuation. And whereas in stop band, the signal is attenuated 10,000 times. The power of the signal is attenuated 10,000 times, because here I am considering the magnitude. You can say the voltage or current of the signal, the amplitude of the signal is attenuated 10,000 times. Okay, that is why 10,000 times. This is nothing but 10 to the power of minus 4. So that's why you get 40 dB. So this is nothing but 1 by 10,000. Okay. Of course, if you talk in terms of power and magnitude, it will become different dBs. So that is what is the relation here. And pass band is this, stop band is this. This is the transition band. Transition band. 3 regions you have to define for a practical filter to design or system to design. You should specify 3 regions. One is pass band region, other one is stop band region, and transient band, transient region. You have to define 3 regions. You have to define. If it is an ideal filter, only pass band and stop band. Correct? So thank you for your attention. I will stop this here.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.